The massive Empire ship appeared in Earth's orbit on a quiet Tuesday morning. Its hull gleamed like polished silver under Earth's sun, stretching nearly 10 kilometers from bow to stern. In the United Defense Force headquarters beneath Mount Cheyenne, Admiral James Marcus watched the main screen with steady eyes while chaos erupted around him. "Sir, they're broadcasting on all frequencies," reported Lieutenant Baker, her fingers flying over the control panel. "The translation software is processing their message now." Marcus straightened his uniform and nodded. After 15 years of preparing for this moment, humanity would finally make first contact with an alien civilization. But something about the Empire ship's position, directly over New York City, made his combat instincts scream danger. "Put them through," he ordered, his voice calm despite the tension in the room. The screen flickered, revealing a tall humanoid figure with gray skin and elaborate golden armor. High Commander Stone of the Galactic Empire stood with perfect posture, looking down at the humans through solid black eyes. "Primitive species of Sol 3, Stone began, his translated voice carrying a mechanical edge. "You have been blessed by the attention of the eternal Galactic Empire. Your system lies within our expansion zone. You will surrender your world and accept integration into our civilization, or face immediate pacification." The room fell silent. Marcus felt a cold anger rise in his chest, but kept his voice steady. "High Commander, I am Admiral Marcus of Earth's United Defense Force. We welcome peaceful contact with your civilization, but we do not respond well to threats. I suggest you reconsider your approach." Stone's expression shifted to what might have been amusement. "You mistake this for a negotiation. Primitive. We have conquered thousands of worlds. Your species has barely reached your own moon. You have no weapons that can harm our ships, no defenses that can withstand our attacks. Surrender now, and we will be merciful." Marcus leaned forward slightly. "Commander Stone, let me be clear. Humanity has spent most of its history fighting wars. We've gotten very good at it. If you force this conflict, we will defend ourselves with everything we have. This is not a threat. It's a warning from one military leader to another. Reconsider." Laughter echoed through the command center as Stone and several off-screen Empire officers found this apparently hilarious. "Your species' bravery would be admirable if it weren't so foolish," Stone said. "You have one planetary rotation to surrender. After that, we begin standard pacification procedures." The transmission cut off. Marcus immediately turned to his staff. "Signal all commands. Operation Broken Arrow is now active. Get me the President and the Joint Chiefs, and someone wake up Dr. Wilson's team at the SHIELD project facility." "Sir," Lieutenant Baker spoke up, detecting multiple Empire ships entering the system. "Current count is 100 vessels, similar size to the first." Marcus allowed himself a small smile. "They're following standard procedure for what they consider a primitive world." "Good. Get our stealth platforms into position. Let's show them why picking a fight with humanity was a very poor decision." In the next 24 hours, Earth's surface appeared to erupt with activity. Civilian populations moved into underground shelters built decades ago under the guise of subway expansions and shopping centers. Military bases that had appeared abandoned suddenly swarmed with activity as hidden hangar doors opened in mountainsides and desert floors. And in orbit, hundreds of tiny satellites silently changed position, waiting for activation. When Commander Stone's deadline arrived, he didn't even bother to communicate again. The Empire fleet moved into attack formation, their weapons powering up for what they expected to be a brief display of force, followed by Earth's quick surrender. They didn't notice the small objects moving in the darkness behind their ships. They didn't detect the energy buildup from Earth's surface, and they certainly didn't expect what happened next. As the first Empire ship fired its weapons, Admiral Marcus gave a single command: "Let's show them how humans fight. All units, execute Order 1. The war that would change the galaxy had begun, and humanity had warned them to run." The Empire's ships fired their first volley at Earth, expecting to see cities crumble and armies fall. Instead, their energy weapons splashed harmlessly against an invisible wall 20 kilometers above the planet's surface. In his command center, Admiral Marcus watched the shield readings stabilize. Status report on the barrier. Shield holding at 97% strength. Lieutenant Baker announced, "Dr. Wilson's asteroid impact technology is working perfectly, sir." The Empire's weapons barely scratched it. High Commander Stone's face appeared on the main screen, his previous amusement replaced by confusion. "Impossible. Your civilization lacks the technology for energy shields. Our scans confirmed this." "Commander," Marcus replied calmly, "you really should have taken our warning seriously. Now allow us to demonstrate why." He pressed a button on his command chair. "All orbital platforms, activate. Show them what Earth has been hiding." In space, hundreds of seemingly dead satellites suddenly came to life. The Empire fleet found themselves surrounded by weapons they hadn't even detected. These platforms, disguised as space junk and obsolete weather satellites, had been Earth's secret defense system for decades. "Sir, targeting solutions ready," Baker reported. "All platforms awaiting your command." Marcus stood up, his voice firm. "Fire." The space around Earth lit up like a new sun. Beams of concentrated energy, developed from studying meteor impacts and solar flares, struck the Empire ships from all directions. The Empire's own shield technology, designed to block attacks from the front, proved useless against Earth's 360-degree assault. Within minutes, 30 Empire warships erupted into balls of flame. Their burning hulks drifted in orbit, a testament to humanity's hidden strength. "Impossible," Stone shouted, his command ship shaking from a near miss. "How did primitives develop such weapons?" "We've been preparing for this day for a long time," Marcus answered. "Every meteor that threatened Earth taught us about kinetic impacts. Every solar flare showed us how to harness energy. We learned from everything that tried to kill us." The Empire fleet began to regroup, adjusting their shields to the new threat. But Earth wasn't finished. From hidden bases around the planet, smaller ships launched into space. These vessels, compact and agile, darted between the massive Empire warships like angry wasps. "Human vessels detected," an Empire officer shouted. They're inside our formation." Earth's ships, built for close combat, demonstrated why size wasn't everything. They targeted weak points in the Empire ship's armor, striking engine sections and weapon systems with surgical precision. Stone watched in horror as his fleet, meant to conquer a primitive world, fell into chaos. "All ships, retreat. Regroup at safe distance. We need to reassess." But retreating proved as difficult as advancing. Earth's defense grid had created a web of overlapping fields of fire. Every escape route led through another killing zone. In the command center, Marcus received a new report. "Sir, we've confirmed critical hits on 15 more Empire vessels. Their fleet is in disarray." "Send the message again," Marcus ordered. "Let's see if they're ready to listen now." On every Empire ship, screens lit up with a simple text message. This was just our first line of defense. Retreat now, or face worse. Stone's flagship, trailing debris from multiple hits, finally managed to break through the defense grid. The remaining Empire ships followed, their neat formation now scattered and broken. As the Empire fleet limped away, Marcus turned to his staff. "Damage report. 3 defense platforms destroyed, 2 civilian satellites caught in crossfire," Baker reported. "No casualties. Shield grid operating at 91% efficiency." Marcus nodded. "They'll be back. And next time, they won't underestimate us." He looked at the tactical display, showing the retreating Empire ships. "But that's exactly what we want. Let them come back angry and careless. We'll be ready." In the depths of space, Commander Stone stared at the battle recordings, trying to understand how his simple pacification mission had turned into such a disaster. One thought kept repeating in his mind. What other surprises did these humans have waiting? He didn't have to wait long to find out. The real war was just beginning. 3 weeks after the first battle, an Empire supply convoy moved slowly through space, carrying weapons and resources for their next attack on Earth. The convoy's commander felt safe, knowing they were deep in Empire territory, far from Earth's defense grid. He was wrong. All ships, power signatures detected. The convoy's sensor officer shouted. Multiple contacts, closing fast. Before the Empire ships could raise their shields, 5 human vessels appeared from seemingly nowhere. They were smaller than Empire ships, painted in dark colors that absorbed sensor scans. These were Earth's new Wolf-class stealth ships, designed for one purpose: hunting in the dark. Captain Tom Jones led the attack from his ship, the Night Hunter. All ships execute pattern Delta. Hit and fade, just like we practiced. The human ships struck with perfect coordination. Their weapons, now enhanced with captured Empire technology, cut through the convoy's light armor. Supply ships exploded, their cargo turning into clouds of frozen debris. "Sir, they're trying to send a distress signal," reported Jones's communications officer. "Let them," Jones replied with a grim smile. "By the time help arrives, we'll be long gone." The entire attack took less than 10 minutes. When Empire reinforcements arrived 2 hours later, they found only wreckage and a message burned into the side of a damaged ship. Anywhere, anytime. Back on Earth, Admiral Marcus reviewed the raid's success. "How many supply lines have we hit this week?" Lieutenant Baker checked her screen. 12, sir. The Empire is spreading their forces thin, trying to protect their shipping lanes. They still can't figure out how we're getting past their detection systems." "Let them keep guessing," Marcus said. "Have our research teams finished analyzing the captured Empire technology?" "Yes, sir. Dr. Wilson's team has already integrated their power systems into our next generation of weapons. The Empire won't expect us to adapt their own technology so quickly." In his flagship, now part of a massive fleet gathering for another attack on Earth, High Commander Stone received the latest reports with growing frustration. Dozens of small human ships were appearing throughout Empire space, striking without warning and vanishing before they could be caught. "How are they doing this?" he demanded. "Our sensors are the most advanced in the galaxy." His science officer cleared his throat nervously. "Sir, we've analyzed their attack patterns. The humans are using something they call stealth technology. It seems they developed it fighting each other, hiding from their own detection systems." "You mean they created this technology to use against themselves?" Stone asked in disbelief. "Yes, sir. And they've had decades to perfect it. Our sensors were designed to detect known energy signatures. The humans, they found ways to hide everything." Another officer spoke up. "Sir, there's more. Every time we develop a countermeasure, they change tactics. It's like they have centuries of experience in warfare." "Because we do," came a transmission from nowhere. Every screen on Stone's ship suddenly showed Admiral Marcus's face. "We've spent most of our history fighting each other. Now we're using that experience against you." Stone's crew tried desperately to trace the signal, but it was bouncing through dozens of relays, some built into the debris of their own destroyed ships. "You can't win this war," Marcus continued. "Every day we learn more about your technology. Every battle teaches us your weaknesses, and we have thousands of years of warfare to draw upon." The transmission cut off, leaving Stone's crew shaken. Moments later, alarms blared throughout the fleet. 3 supply bases had just been hit simultaneously by human raiders. "Sir," Stone's tactical officer reported, "the humans, they're not just attacking randomly. They're systematically destroying our ability to maintain a long-term campaign." Stone stared at the tactical display, watching more supply lines turn red as they were hit. The humans weren't fighting like any species they'd encountered before. They weren't trying to win giant battles or capture territory. They were bleeding the Empire dry, one cut at a time. And they were winning. The Empire unveiled their new weapon with great confidence. 20 massive ships surrounded a small human outpost on Mars, each carrying what they called planet breakers. These weapons had crushed rebellions on 100 worlds. "Watch, humans," Commander Stone broadcast across all frequencies, "as we demonstrate true power." The Empire ships fired together. Beams of pure energy, hot enough to melt continents, struck the Martian outpost. For a moment, the surface of Mars itself seemed to glow. But when the light faded, the outpost still stood. Impossible. Stone slammed his fist on his command chair. "Those shields can't be that strong." "Actually," came the calm voice of Captain Jack Wells from the outpost, "we figured you'd try something like this. See, we found some interesting notes in that research base we captured last week." Wells's next words chilled Stone to his core. "Your weapons are impressive. They're even better now that we've learned how they work." From behind Mars, a fleet of human ships appeared. They were ugly things, clearly built for function over form, with strange devices attached to their hulls. Devices that looked remarkably like smaller versions of the Empire's planet breakers. "Amazing what you can build in a week when your whole species is good at taking things apart and putting them back together," Wells commented. "Now let us show you what we did to improve them." The human ships fired. Their beams were smaller than the Empire's, but they moved in ways that shouldn't have been possible, curving around shields and striking from multiple angles. "Sir," Stone's tactical officer shouted, "their weapons, they've modified our technology. They'd found weaknesses we didn't even know existed." 5 Empire ships exploded before they could react. The others tried to retreat, but the humans had learned more than just weapon designs from their captured base. "Your ship engines," Wells explained as his fleet pressed the attack, "are really quite good, but they waste a lot of energy. We fixed that too. Want to see how fast our ships can go now?" The human vessels darted between the Empire ships like they were standing still, their enhanced engines leaving trails of blue fire in space. Each pass brought another precisely targeted strike. In his command center on Earth, Admiral Marcus watched the battle through long-range sensors. "Status report on Project Mirror." Lieutenant Baker smiled. "Sir, every piece of Empire technology we capture is being reverse-engineered within days. Our scientists say it's like they designed everything to be as complicated as possible. We're actually making their systems better by simplifying them." "Humans are good at finding simple solutions to complex problems," Marcus nodded, "especially when we're motivated by survival." The battle at Mars ended in less than an hour. 13 Empire ships destroyed, the others retreating in panic. The human fleet had suffered no losses. Stone's report to the Empire Council was met with stunned silence. "They're not just copying our technology," he explained. "They're improving it, making it more efficient, more deadly. Every weapon we use against them comes back stronger." One council member spoke up. "How is this possible? Their civilization is centuries behind ours." "Because," Stone replied, remembering Marcus's words, "they've spent those centuries fighting. Their entire history is an arms race against themselves. Every human seems to understand intuitively how weapons work, how to make them better." He brought up an image of Earth. "We thought their technological advancement was slow because they were primitive. We were wrong. They advanced slowly because they were thorough, learning every possible way their creations could be used or improved. And now," another council member realized, "they're applying all that knowledge to our technology." "Yes," Stone agreed. "For the first time in Imperial history, we face an enemy that doesn't just use our weapons against us. They make them better." In orbit around Mars, Captain Wells and his crew began salvaging the destroyed Empire ships. Every piece would be studied, improved, and turned into humanity's next advantage. The Empire had started this war expecting an easy victory over primitives. Instead, they'd given humanity access to advanced technology. And humans were very, very good at making weapons better. The Empire soldier sat in his barracks, hands shaking as he watched the recording again. It showed a human ship, badly damaged and on fire, ramming itself into an Empire cruiser at full speed. Both ships exploded in a blast that took out 3 other Empire vessels. They didn't even try to escape, he whispered to his bunkmate. Why would anyone do that? Similar scenes played out across Empire bases. Soldiers who had never known fear began experiencing nightmares. The humans didn't fight like any enemy they'd faced before. They didn't surrender when defeat seemed certain. Instead, they became more dangerous. General Robert Anderson of Earth's Psychological Warfare Division smiled as he read the reports. Fear, he explained to Admiral Marcus, is our most powerful weapon against the Empire. Their soldiers have never faced an enemy willing to sacrifice everything for victory. Marcus nodded, studying the battle maps. And how are our other psychological tactics working? Better than expected, Anderson replied. Every time we capture Empire soldiers, we show them Earth's military history. The World Wars, the Cold War, guerrilla warfare, nuclear deterrence. They can't understand how we survived our own violence. And that scares them more than our weapons. Much more. They're starting to realize that humans don't fight for glory or territory. We fight for survival. And we never, ever give up. In his flagship, Commander Stone reviewed reports from his frontline units. Morale was collapsing. Empire soldiers, trained to fight enemies who followed predictable patterns, couldn't handle human unpredictability. Sir, his psychological warfare expert reported, we've discovered something disturbing. The humans have a concept they call total war. It means they're willing to sacrifice anything to win. Surely they have limits? Stone asked. No, sir. When humans feel threatened, they become more aggressive, not less. The more we push them, the more dangerous they become. Some units are refusing to attack human positions. They're afraid. Stone had never dealt with afraid soldiers before. The Empire had always been the one inspiring fear in others. On Earth, General Anderson launched the next phase of his campaign. Every Empire communication channel began receiving transmissions, recordings of Earth's wars, images of ancient battles, stories of human courage and sacrifice. Let them see what they're really fighting, Anderson told his staff. Let them understand that humans have been practicing war since we first picked up stones as weapons. The effect was devastating. Empire soldiers watched in horror as they learned how humans had fought through history, how they'd survived weapons that should have ended their civilization, how they'd rebuilt from ashes again and again. One Empire commander sent a desperate message to Stone. These humans, they've spent their entire history trying to kill each other, and they've survived everything they created. How can we possibly defeat a species that resilient? Stone had no answer. His mighty fleet, capable of destroying planets, found itself paralyzed by the sheer unpredictability of human tactics. Every battle plan fell apart because humans never did what they were supposed to do. Sir, his tactical officer reported, the humans are broadcasting something new. They call it the Geneva Conventions. What is that? Stone asked. Rules they created for warfare. Sir, rules they're choosing not to apply to us, because we're not signatories. The officer's voice shook. They have rules for war, sir. They'd fought so much they needed to make rules for it. In his command center, Anderson received news that made him smile. 3 Empire battle groups had retreated without fighting when they intercepted transmissions about human scorched earth tactics. They're starting to understand, he told Marcus. We're not just fighting with weapons. We're fighting with the weight of our entire violent history. And that history, Marcus added, is more terrifying to them than any weapon we could build. The Empire had started this war thinking they were the strongest civilization in the galaxy. Now they were learning that strength wasn't just about technology or numbers. It was about what a species was willing to do to survive. And humans were willing to do anything. The Empire Council chamber erupted in chaos as representatives from 30 worlds stood up together. We demand the right to declare independence, shouted the leader of the Centauri sector. The Empire can't protect us anymore. These humans, they're offering peace to any world that leaves the Empire. High Commander Stone watched helplessly as his once mighty empire began crumbling from within. On the main screen, another human fleet was systematically destroying an Empire defense station. Their tactics were perfect, their coordination flawless. "Sir," his aide reported, "we've lost contact with the Orion sector. They've switched sides. They're helping the humans now." Stone slammed his fist on his command console. How? How are they doing this? The answer came from Admiral Marcus himself, broadcasting on all Empire channels. "Your empire is built on fear and rigid control," he explained calmly. "But humans, we're built on adaptation and cooperation, and we're very good at teaching others how to break free." Across Empire space, more worlds were choosing to side with humanity. They'd seen how Earth fought, not just with weapons, but with a flexibility the Empire couldn't match. In Earth's command center, Lieutenant Baker presented the latest intelligence. "Sir, our strategy is working. The Empire's military structure is falling apart. They can't adapt fast enough to our changing tactics." Admiral Marcus nodded. "And our new allies?" "Learning quickly, sir. The freed worlds are already adopting our military techniques. Some are even improving them." On the tactical display, hundreds of ships moved in perfect coordination, but they weren't all human ships anymore. Former Empire worlds had joined Earth's defense fleet, their crews learning human warfare strategies with shocking speed. The Empire never let their subject worlds develop their own military tactics, Baker explained. Now these worlds are learning everything we know about warfare. They're becoming as unpredictable as we are. Stone watched another battle recording in horror. A combined fleet of human and former Empire ships had just destroyed one of their largest military bases. The ships moved like they trained together for years, not weeks. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "we've lost 60% of our fleet strength. Our remaining ships, the crews are scared. They're starting to question orders." Because they've never faced defeat before, Stone realized. They don't know how to handle it. The Empire's rigid command structure, once its strength, was now its greatest weakness. Every decision had to go through proper channels. Every strategy had to follow established protocols. But the humans and their allies changed tactics in the middle of battle, adapted to new situations instantly. Admiral Marcus sent another transmission to all Empire worlds. "To any world still under Empire control, we offer you a choice. Join us as equals, or stay with an empire that's already lost. You have 24 hours to decide." In the next day, over 100 worlds declared independence. Stone faced the Empire Council one last time. "Our military is broken. Our worlds are leaving. And the humans," he paused, looking at the latest battle reports. "The humans aren't even trying to conquer us. They're simply showing everyone how to be free." Back on Earth, Marcus reviewed the diplomatic reports with satisfaction. "How many worlds have accepted our offer of military training?" 200 and counting, sir," Baker replied. "They're fascinated by our history of warfare. Some have already started forming their own defense strategies based on our teachings." "And the Empire?" "Collapsing, sir. Their entire military structure relied on absolute obedience and predictable enemies. They can't handle fighting forces that think for themselves." Marcus smiled slightly. "Remind me to thank General Anderson. His psychological warfare campaign worked perfectly." "Yes, sir. Showing Empire worlds that they could fight back like humans do. It was more effective than any weapon. The Empire had started this war thinking they were invincible. Now they were learning the hardest lesson of all. True strength isn't about having the biggest fleet or the most advanced weapons. It's about being able to adapt, to think freely, and to fight with everything you have." And humans had been teaching themselves these lessons for thousands of years. The remains of the Empire fleet gathered for one final, massive assault on Earth. 5,000 ships, everything they had left, prepared for what Commander Stone called The last attack. If we can't have the galaxy, Stone announced to his remaining loyal forces, no one will. We will show these humans true power. On Earth, Admiral Marcus watched the Empire fleet approaching. He seemed strangely calm for someone facing the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. "Sir," Lieutenant Baker reported, "all Earth defense systems are ready. Our allies are in position." Marcus nodded. "Send the final warning." His message was simple. You were warned to run. You chose not to listen. What happens next is your own fault. Stone laughed when he received the message. What can they possibly do against 5,000 ships? Begin the attack. The Empire fleet moved forward together, their weapons charged to maximum power. They expected Earth to use the same defenses as before. The shield grid, the stealth ships, the improved weapons. They were wrong. All units, Marcus commanded, execute final protocol. The space around Earth suddenly lit up. Thousands of wormholes opened, created by technology humanity had reversed engineered from captured Empire ships. From these portals emerged not just Earth's fleet, but the combined forces of every world that had joined them. Stone's tactical officers screamed in panic. "Sir, we're detecting 10,000 ships. 15,000. 20. It's still climbing." Marcus's voice came through again. "We told you humans were good at making allies. Every world you tried to conquer is here now. They all learned how to fight from us." The Empire fleet found itself surrounded. The ships facing them were of all different designs. Former Empire vessels rebuilt with human improvements, new ships built using combined technology, and Earth's own advanced fleet. "Attack pattern Alpha," Marcus commanded. "Show them everything." The battle that followed would be studied for centuries. The Allied fleet moved like a single organism, using tactics no one had seen before. Ships jumped in and out of wormholes, striking from impossible angles. Weapons fired in synchronized patterns that overwhelmed any defense. Stone watched in horror as his fleet began to die. How? How can they coordinate so many different ships? The answer came from his own tactical officer. "Sir, they're not coordinating. Each fleet is fighting its own way, but somehow it all works together. They're all being unpredictable together." Within an hour, half the Empire fleet was destroyed. The rest were trapped in a web of overlapping fire zones, unable to retreat or advance. Marcus opened a channel to Stone's ship. "Surrender. End this now." For the first time in his life, Stone felt something he'd seen in so many others, the absolute certainty of defeat. "Why?" he asked. "Why not just destroy us?" "Because humans learned something important from all our wars," Marcus replied. "Victory isn't about destroying your enemy. It's about building a better future. Surrender, and you can be part of that future." Stone looked at his burning fleet, at the mighty alliance humanity had built, and made his decision. "All Empire ships, stand down." The war ended not with a final explosion, but with a signal broadcast across the galaxy. The Empire surrenders to Earth and its allies. In the aftermath, humanity shared not just their military knowledge, but their history. The galaxy learned why humans fought so well, because they'd spent thousands of years learning how to end wars, not just win them. 1 year later, Admiral Marcus stood before the new Galactic Council, made up of representatives from all worlds, including the former Empire. "We came close to destroying ourselves many times," he told them. "But we always learned from our mistakes. Now we can help build something better than an empire. We can build a galaxy where everyone knows how to defend themselves, but chooses to work together instead." In the Empire's main military academy, now a museum, a new exhibit opened. It showed Earth's history of warfare, ending with a simple message. "They warned us to run. We didn't listen. Now we understand why." And across the galaxy, a new age began, not of conquest, but of cooperation, built on humanity's most important lesson. The best victory is one that brings peace.